So, if you were keeping an eye on the market after hours on September 4th, you probably saw a big move from Samsara. They just dropped their Q2 earnings, and wow, the results were something else. Let's dive in and unpack exactly what lit a fire under this stock.
And boom, there it is, a nearly 10% jump in after-hours trading. Now, a move like that doesn't just happen on a whim. It's a huge signal that the company delivered something investors were absolutely thrilled to see. So the big question is, what was in that report?
Well, in Wall Street jargon, it was a classic beat and raise. It's pretty simple, really. It means Samsara didn't just blow past the financial expectations for the quarter, they also upped their forecast for the future. It's that 1-2 punch that almost always gets the market excited. And when you dig into the details, it's really easy to see why.
All right, first up, let's talk about the engine behind this whole thing. Pure, unadulterated growth. For a company of Samsara's size, just growing isn't enough to impress anybody. Investors want to see acceleration. They want to see you hit the gas pedal. And this quarter, Samsara delivered.
To really get the picture, we got to look at 3 key numbers. First, just the sheer scale we're dealing with here. Samsara closed the quarter with an incredible $1.64 billion in annual recurring revenue. That is a massive foundation to build on.
But here's where it gets really juicy. On top of that huge number, they're still growing at 30% year over year. That combination of massive scale and incredible speed is exactly what turns heads on Wall Street.
And finally, their execution this quarter was just off the charts. They added $105 million in new recurring revenue. That number right there tells you their sales engine isn't just humming along, it's roaring.
And look, this wasn't some one-hit wonder. As you can see from this trend line over the past year, Samsara is delivering this kind of durable, high-speed growth consistently. Keeping up that pace, even as you get bigger and bigger, is precisely the kind of performance that investors reward.
So where is all this monster growth coming from? Well, that brings us to the second big reason for the stock pop. Samsara is winning over the biggest, most complicated companies on the planet.
And we're not talking about small businesses. In just this last quarter, they locked in huge deals with industry leaders like Alaska Airlines and SRM Concrete, the largest ready-mix concrete provider in the U.S. These are massive, complex operations trusting Samsara to run their core business. And it's not just landing a few big fish here and there. In Q2, they added a record 17 new customers who will pay them over $1 million a year. That's a new high for the company, and it proves their ability to close these game-changing deals is only getting stronger.
This chart really puts it all into perspective, doesn't it? Customers paying over $100,000 a year now make up nearly 60% of Samsara's total recurring revenue. And that small slice of million-dollar-plus customers, they account for over 20% of the entire business. The enterprise is clearly their rocket fuel.
Now, this focus on big business isn't an accident. On the earnings call, CEO Sanjeet Biswas laid it out perfectly. Our strategy to partner with the world's largest and most complex operations organizations is working and is fueling our growth at scale. Hard to argue with that. Okay, so great growth and huge customer wins explain the quarter. But what gives investors confidence in the future? That brings us to reason number 3, Samsara's secret weapon, what they call their AI and product flywheel. It all starts with data, and I mean a staggering amount of it. Samsara's platform is now processing 20 trillion data points every single year from its network. This isn't just a big number, it's the raw fuel for their artificial intelligence. And here's the key. This data is theirs and theirs alone. As the CEO pointed out, you can't just scrape this stuff off the internet. It comes directly from the physical world of their customers' operations. This gives them a unique insight that's almost impossible to copy. It's what investors call a data moat.
So how does this data moat actually work? Well, it powers this awesome innovation flywheel. Samsara builds products, customers use them, and that usage generates more and more of that proprietary data. That growing pile of data then allows our AI to build even smarter, better products. It's a self-reinforcing cycle that just gets stronger with every single new customer.
And this flywheel isn't just a cool concept, it's a money-making machine. These new products you see here, all launched in the last year, already account for 8% of new contract value this quarter. That's innovation translating directly to the bottom line.
So we've got accelerating growth, massive enterprise wins, and a powerful AI flywheel. That brings us to the final piece of the puzzle, the raise. Let's take a look at what management is telling investors to expect for the rest of the year.
This is the other half of the story that had investors cheering. Management jacked up their full-year guidance. They're now expecting over $1.5 billion in revenue for 26% growth, But just as important, look at that 15% operating margin. This proves it's not just growth at any cost, it's profitable growth.
This quote from the CFO, Dominic Phillips, really sums up the whole message to investors. The company isn't just focused on one good quarter. They're broadcasting their confidence in delivering durable, long-term growth. It's a statement of conviction that's backed up by the numbers.
So when you put it all together, the beat, the raise, the momentum with huge customers, and that powerful data mode, it's crystal clear why the stock popped. This quarter wasn't just a win, it was a statement. And it leaves you with a really compelling question. For a company that's digitizing the massive world of physical operations, is this impressive growth just getting started?